Now, through that work, I was able to realize how the city of Welesebugu was poorly managed. So in 2009, the mayor of my hometown was up for re-election, and he came to me and asked for support. And that is when I asked him for questions, and what has he done for the last 10 years as he was a mayor, and what will he do if he were re-elected? His answers were not very satisfying, and it broke my heart, coming from Welesebugu myself. The mayor's office had embezzled a lot of money, it turned out. And as a result, the city was suffering from inadequate access to education, limited electricity, and lack of clean running water. And the city personnel were 6 months behind pay, while the mayor was driving a Mercedes and building a nice house for himself on public money. Less than 10% of the population paid the taxes, and government workers, the city workers, will take the money or borrow the money to themselves because they were uncertain that they will get paid the next month. When measured in terms of our governmental management and transparency, our commune was ranked about 699th out of 704 cities. Although it will require moving my family from the United States back to Mali, I knew I could change the way the mayor's office was run. This was not an easy decision, having lived here in America for nearly 9 years, living in our own home in Lehigh. Asking of my wife to move back to Mali with me was certainly more than her fair share. She didn't willingly do so. She was concerned of the well-being of our children. How would we educate them? If they were to get sick, how would we treat them medically? She had the right question to put. But I was determined to not worry about me and just my family. I had the well-being of 60,000 people at heart. But I didn't have the right words to convince my wife, to assure her that moving back home was the right decision. She comes from India. She was born and raised in Bahrain. She has very little connection to my people. She didn't feel what I was feeling. Living in abundance, in freedom. Freedoms, I will say, in America, while 60,000 people were living in uncertainty, was not a pleasant feeling for me. So I decided to compromise. Since my wife didn't believe that I could win the election anyway, she said, "You go run, and we'll talk later." Little did she know. But truly, it was a challenge, because I was running for mayor of a city, 95% Muslim, being the only Mormon in our community. Many people, even in Utah, thought that I would steer some anti-Mormon sentiment by running for mayor in Welesebugu. But I was not concerned with those sentiments. I was concerned with what can I do to uplift my people. I was not running for mayor because I'm Mormon. I was running because my great-great-grandfather created a village called Welesebugu, and the people of that village were living in dire circumstances. The people saw the sincerity in my heart that I really want to serve. 86% of the people of Welesebugu voted for me. I became the mayor. And there the challenges began. They were used to other ways. As I said, 10%, less than 10% of the people were paying their taxes. They did not believe in the government, the local government. Rightfully so. I had to convince them to invest in themselves by paying their taxes. So I had to bet with them that if they were to pay their taxes the first year, since I had 5 years, if they're not happy with the way the money was spent, the next 4 years, I will not ask for any taxes. They said, really? So 68% decided that they will try that. Clearly, I did not know what to do with the money. This is paid in cash. I asked my city councilmen, what do we do with this money? They told me the way it's used to be done. The mayor takes a percentage. Part of it goes to the city council, and the remaining, if there is any, goes to projects. I reminded them that we made a covenant with the taxpayers. Would they be happy with that arrangement? Obviously, we disagreed. Now, I thought about how do we go about getting the citizens of Welesebugu happy about paying their taxes, that they will not be reluctant to pay again next year and the year after. The answer was with themselves. I was inspired by something in my faith called the Elders Quorum. That's an incredible institution in the church. It helps connect members and also put all of us at the same level of information. I decided to create the Elders Quorum of the city of Welesebugu. This quorum will comprise of 2 members of each of the villages, 44 villages. We'll meet on a quarterly basis to open the book of the mayor's office so they see where the money is coming from, how much money we have, and where the money will be spent. They were informed. They were empowered. One of the chief of the village was in the presence, and he started shedding tears. We got confused. An elderly shedding tears is not a good thing in Africa. After he controlled his emotion, we asked him why he was crying. He said, when the colonial power came, they beat us, threatened us, forced us to pay taxes, and we knew nothing about how the money was being spent. And then our own people came after colonization. They followed the same path, forcing us to pay taxes and never telling us what the money would be used for. And now, our own son, you telling us to pay taxes, and you also telling us to give our idea how to spend our money. That's overwhelmed him. But because of that feeling, shared feeling with all of the villagers, the next year, 72% paid their taxes. The next year, 100% paid their taxes. They were committed. It was not my city. It was their city. It was not the mayor's business. It was theirs to transform the future of their children by investing in their education, investing in healthcare, in rural roads. Our community suddenly have running water, electricity, the first ever public high school, a large hospital, solar panels. Welesebugu became number 7 of 703 cities, 704 cities, actually. How did this come about? Some people were saying, well, the mayor is bringing money from America. Where could all of this money be coming from? In the pocket of the taxpayers. With good stewardship, with transparency, with integrity, we use our scarce resources to transform our community.